Hello, everyone. I just wanted to record a teaching session, another one of my favorite talks by Eckhart Tolle. What impressed me in this section, the title of this talk is You Are the Sky. So Eckhart is using the analogy of the spaciousness of the sky being the equivalent of awareness or presence or alignment with inner beingness. And he talks about how thoughts and emotions are like the clouds in the sky. So they're the content of awareness. In this talk, there was one very important pointer that Eckhart gave, which is talking about true detachment. What is true detachment? So I want y'all to watch that section, and then I'll have a few things to say about it. Thank you.
And again, the Buddhist scholar, and even Buddhist monks, some, emptiness remains a concept. I'm pursuing emptiness. I hope one day to find that emptiness that the Buddha talks about. I may need another 4 or 5 incarnations, but that's not too much. And I will arrive at the emptiness. And so again, you can see how easily we misinterpret those beautiful teachings because we apply to them our old mind patterns, and then they get incorporated into the old mindsets. So the Buddha points to the same as what you take to be yourself is not really yourself. These are simply formations that arise, temporary formations that arise in the same way that a cloud is a temporary formation. The cloud is, of course, much more temporary and fleeting than the human form, but the human form is fleeting enough too. If you could see a human life, a speeded up version of a human life, which would be in the same way that some people have filmed the speeded up version of a flower coming, the plant coming out of the ground. It's an amazing thing to see. The plant coming out, then the bud is there, then the bud opens, and then there's the flower, but not for long, and then it wilts and shrinks, and then finally dissolves into nothingness again. And the same would happen if you saw a speeded up version of your body. It grows, reaches maturity, and for a moment there's that bounce, and then the first wrinkles appear. And then a few more, and then other things that shouldn't be there happen. And then if you're wealthy enough, it may be time for a facelift. But you can't stop it. And then eventually it dissolves. So that human form also really is not, it runs around for a few years, it eats and drinks and makes love and watches movies and gets engaged in drama. Oh, what he did, what she did. And then he and she, and they're all gone. And it was all so important, it seemed so important in the moment. So of such heaviness, the human affairs. And that's the prison, so as spaciousness comes into your life, Still, of course, things still happen in your daily life. Challenges still happen. Things go wrong, as the mind would call it, quite often. Things happen. You lose something, or something's taken away, or something arrives that really you don't really want. These things still happen. That's okay. But against a background of spaciousness, and you're not totally trapped in every thought that arises, not identified with every thought that arises, and more you become aware of space, while the drama to some extent still happens around you, but without. This is really what the spiritual term detachment, that's been around for a while, what detachment means. True detachment, which in some spiritual traditions they tell you, you must become detached from the things of the world, and spiritual practitioners have been trying to do that by physically detaching themselves from their normal surroundings, becoming renunciates. Of course, that in itself does not mean that you have really detached. It may work, but in many cases it does not work. The true detachment is an inner non-identification with form, non-identification primarily with mental formations that arise continuously. They arise, and more you become the awareness in which they arise. You are that already. You are the awareness, the space, the sky, the vast sky, and there are the clouds. And there's the drama. But the thing is, when you are aware, there's the dimension of awareness in you, you don't feed the human drama anymore. You may still experience some around you, because that's what humans generate, but you don't feed into it anymore. You don't contribute more drama to it. The reactivity is not there anymore against people, what they did. So there's a certain change happens even in the realm of form, as this inner shift happens from form identification, mind identification, to being the awareness, that affects even the world of form. The world of form will never become absolutely satisfying. It's not even meant to be satisfying. It's only meant to awaken you. In some ways, you could even say the world of form is meant to frustrate you in order to awaken you. And once you've awakened, the world of form is actually quite a pleasant realm, because you don't need it anymore for your identity or your fulfillment. And then you can appreciate things, and including the so-called imperfections that are in situations and people, because every human being you encounter, every situation you encounter, sooner or later, usually sooner, you find there is a flaw. There's a flaw in the situation that was supposed to be so great. Why did that have to come in there? And then this wonderful human being that I met, as soon as you start, at the latest, when you start living with them, you discover the flaw, and sometimes more than one. And every place that you go to that was supposed to be so ideal, even Mill Valley has flaws.
So watching this video, I had a couple of epiphanies. This was a video that was published in year 2012 on his website. And to know that even a decade back, that we are the awareness this content is arising, and the true detachment, it's not about giving up things. It's not about giving up nice clothes or giving up nice things. It is true detachment is a non-identification with mental formations. They arise and we allow them to arise. So I have seen in the past few years, a lot of people, when they, especially using social media these days, people post an opinion and then they are so identified with that opinion that they start to defend it. And suddenly the whole post, the response, the reply, response, reply ends up being very caustic. And then one person will say, oh, I'm going to unfriend you. Like the ego of the other person would say, I'm going to unfriend you. And it feels so happy about unfriending somebody. But that is not a solution. Like he says in the video, we stop being reactive. Like if you need to post something, yes, we are living in year 2021 or 2022. And yes, we need to express our, we are living in the 21st century. So we need to express our opinion. We have opinions. It's not like our minds are empty, but do it with a certain amount of detachment, that you post your opinion or you post your, when you're talking to a family member, express your thoughts, express what you feel as you're coming up, whatever's coming up for you, which is true to you, express it, but have a certain amount of detachment, because the moment we add that energy of the ego, no, these people have to listen to me, they have to agree with me. It's like, that's the identity that the ego is trying to build. Ego means identification with form, and idam means making something the same as the face of me. He says something somewhere in a New Art, it's idam and fakr, making the same as my face. So I hope you all enjoyed the video and are beginning to learn how to live with a certain amount of detachment with the world of form. And it's not just thought formations, it's with the other pointer, or a derivative of the same pointer, is understand the impermanence of form. That, okay, if you have a home, we don't know what may happen tomorrow. If you have a handbag today, we don't know what may happen tomorrow. It may get stolen. If you have a car today, maybe it gets scratched or what have you. So live with the world of form with a certain amount of detachment. And primarily it is with our mental formations. Live with them with a certain amount of detachment, because the world of form is meant to frustrate us in order to awaken us, as he says at the end, towards the end of the video. I wanted to capture that as well. That is my favorite statement out of this talk. The world of form is meant to frustrate us, to awaken us. And once we awaken, the world of form is pleasant. And that's where I want all of you to be, is to be with a certain amount of joy, no matter what is happening, accepting what is. So live with a certain amount of pleasantness with the world of form. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.